Welcome back. Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here. The Diamond K Show on firetelevision.com. And I mean, you talk about news days and news weeks and things going on. And this is one of those times where we are at an overload of things to talk about. So, of course, COVID-19 uh, raging all over the world for this matter. And the Supreme Court, when we talk about elections, and we talk about elections having consequences, let's go back to 2016. There were folks that were saying, doesn't matter who gets elected, it doesn't matter whether it was Hillary or whether it was Trump, it's going to all be the same thing. And that could not be further from the truth. You know what I mean? That could not be further from the truth. When you look at the results, when you look at the results, when you look at what Trump did in office, of course, the biggest thing that sticks out to me is the Supreme Court justices, the people that he was able to slide through in the Supreme Court because of the sneakiness, because of the just outright cunning deception of Mitch McConnell, which allowed Trump to have even more justices than he should have. Right? So you have that. And the result of that is a conservative Supreme Court that is going to make decisions that is going to have a lasting impact on this country for the next, 25 years, if not longer than that. So we're going to see that. So the lasting legacy of Trump's term in office, aside from some of the other things that he did to get him impeached, the impact that the Supreme Court justices that came to term under former President Donald Trump is affecting this country in a way that many have not even paid attention to. So we have COVID-19 raging, as I said. Supreme Court has blocked vaccine mandate for large businesses, allows it for healthcare workers. And on yesterday, they issued two highly anticipated rulings. So temporarily blocking a Biden administration COVID-19 vaccine mandate for these large employers. And as I said, allowing a separate rule applying only to healthcare workers at facilities receiving federal funding. The High Court settled the matter concerning large employers in a 6-3 decision to block the rule that would have been issued by OSHA, with the 3 liberal justices dissenting. So the Democratic-leaning justices not agreeing with this. OSHA has never before imposed such a mandate, nor has Congress. Indeed, although Congress has enacted significant legislation addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, it has declined to enact any measure similar to what OSHA has promulgated here, the majority stated. So here's something that you need to look at when discussing this. So it said that OSHA has never before imposed such a mandate. This is true, nor has Congress. Indeed, here's the thing. We've never been in this type of situation before. So if they're going to try to point to precedent, we haven't been here before. There is no situation that we can point to that would be even remotely resembling this COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, there has never been anything like this. Now, as for healthcare facilities, the court ruled in a 5-4 ruling to uphold, for now, the rule administered by the Department of Health and Human Services with Justice Clarence Thomas, Judge Alito, and Neil Gorsuch dissenting. Both Medicare and Medicaid are administered by the Secretary of Health and Human Services, who has the authority to these regulations as may be necessary to the efficient administration of the functions with which he is now charged. One such function, perhaps the most basic given the department's core mission, is to ensure that the healthcare providers who care for Medicare and Medicaid patients protect their patients' health and safety. This is what the majority said. So I don't want people to get confused by this. These rulings take effect immediately and will remain in place until legal challenges over the constitutionality are resolved through the justice system and possibly through the Supreme Court. So we have a mandate targeting half of the U.S. workforce. There's been so much confusion with regards to COVID-19, right? On one hand, they'll say, oh, we could do this safely. School should be open, right? School should be open because we can do this COVID-19 thing safely and protect students. But then on the other hand, depending on, another business, because these are teachers, right? Teachers, students, okay. And then another business says, oh, they can't do it. You can't go in the office because you can't do it safely in the office. It doesn't make sense. Like, the biggest problem here, there are several, but the biggest problem is the facts on the ground are constantly changing. Our understanding of COVID-19, the variants, it is constantly evolving, right? So as we make moves and as the science evolves, different decisions are made. Things that were said in the past by the CDC, by WHO, and others, the government, President Biden's administration, it changes. And there's never any acknowledgement as to why these things changed, right? They'll just, oh, this is what it is. Wait, 2 weeks ago you said something else, and now you're saying this, and now you're saying that, and then they're confused as to why many folks don't follow what they're saying or have pushback because of what they're saying, because there is so much confusion, there's a lack of consistency, and many people are not just going to go along with things that, from their perspective, don't make sense. And I don't understand why it's hard for the government to understand. I don't understand why that is hard. Right? So we have OSHA, and you have health facility mandate targeting 17 million healthcare facilities. The administration's healthcare mandate applies to facilities that receive Medicare or Medicaid funding. These are ones that they can control, right? Now, this is going to require them to maintain a fully vaccinated workforce with no testing alternative. Now, the rule for health workers applies to more than 10.4 million workers and is administered by Health and Human Services for Medicare and Medicaid services. This is another thing that I'm talking about with the inconsistency, okay? You have different states that have done different things. They've thrown it back to the city, the states, and let them decide this. And so you have in one state, in a neighboring state, the rules could be completely different. And sometimes this varies from county to county within a state. So you have so many jurisdictions doing different things, which causes viral spread easily. If we were all doing the same thing in this country, whatever it was, it would be easier to kind of follow things and see the effects of our actions. But there's no uniformity here at all. And we have the Biden administration stumbling its way through the first year. And now we're into this second year of the Biden administration. And they are stumbling their way through that as well. I do not understand, unless things change significantly, how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to have a snowball chance to get reelected. Maybe things are going to change. Maybe some other candidates will emerge. Maybe Joe Biden will do everybody a favor and fade into the background and not seek reelection. Who knows? But the way that this administration has stumbled through the first year. Now, I will say this. It wasn't an easy road, and it never is. It wasn't an easy set of circumstances that the Biden administration inherited. It was not easy, and I'm not going to sit here and act like it was an easy road. You had the COVID-19 pandemic. You had Afghan withdrawal. I mean, you had so many, inflation. You have results of the pandemic. Everything is pretty much centered around the pandemic. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, for that matter, have not handled this situation with strength. I don't feel like there are capable hands on the wheel. Now, do you watch him speak? Do you watch him? If you just pay attention to just the body language, it's concerning. It's concerning. And I used to hear opponents of President Biden talk about that, right? And I dismissed it initially because I was so ready for Trump to be gone. And let me say this. I'm glad that he's out of the office. I just wish that we had a better person there than Joe Biden. Joe Biden is weak. Joe Biden, even, when he was vice president, he's not somebody that you would want manning the ship. I mean, his gaffes and his spectacles during President Obama's administration did not leave anybody with the comfort that Joe Biden is the best choice after President Obama. Hillary would have been a better selection. And in 2016, she was the nominee, and that's what it should have been. Biden does not. And when you look at Biden now, in the press conference yesterday and some announcements about COVID-19, we'll talk about that, but he just doesn't seem like he's always there. You know what I mean? It's not about stuttering or anything like that. Everybody stutters, and we definitely know that he had a stuttering problem at one point in his life, and he's overcome that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that, as you get older, you lose some of your faculties, you lose some of the vigor that you possessed in your youth, and this is clear and obvious when President Biden speaks. So he does understand Congress. He was a congressman for a long time. And the way that he's handled the road to the voting rights has been maddening as well. It's been a long road to get where he should have already been in the beginning, right? So that is frustrating to Democrats. And Kamala Harris, they've been putting VP Harris out there. She's been speaking. And to me, whenever she speaks in an interview setting or something like that, it is the opportunity for a disaster, right? And she did an interview early this week, which we're going to talk about after the break. But I'm not comfortable that she is the capable and able person to pick up the mantle that Joe Biden clearly does not have firmly in his grip. So he is the president. He's the incumbent. He's going to be expected to run again. But I just, does he seem like the strongest candidate? Does he? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. We're talking about the Supreme Court striking down the president's mandate, right? The mandate. And around the country, the Ohio Supreme Court rejected the GOP's drawn congressional map. We're going to talk a little bit about that. The White House, Russia is prepping pretext for Ukraine invasion. We're going to talk about that as well. So much going on in the world and around the country. Biden's team is trying to regroup after this high court loss. And that's what it is. The loss on shots or tests. The White House is concerned, but they say that they're not giving up. Biden is anxiously pushing ahead to probe and prod people to get the COVID-19 shot after the Supreme Court put a halt to this sweeping vaccinate or test plan for large employers. So everybody don't want to get the shot. And when you look in situations, when you look in circumstances like schools where some people cannot get the shot and the government says that we have learned how to keep those people safe, right? Which is by masking, that contradicts some of the other, you must get a shot or you're killing people. I mean, come on now. If they don't want to get a shot, they don't get a shot, then fine. But them spending all this time trying to force people to get shots, time needs to be spent on getting these voting rights laws in order. To me, this separation, this difference of opinion is going to cost President Biden very, very dearly. So this is a time when hospitals are being overrun. A record number of people are getting infected with the Omicron variant. This is a fact. Now, is the Omicron variant more contagious? Yes. But is it less lethal? Yes. Okay. Now, the administration, Joe Biden's administration, hopes states and companies will order their own vaccine or test requirements, and many have. And if the president's, what they call the bully pulpit, still counts for persuasion, Biden intends to use it. But as of now, there's not going to be a mandate that they do this. It's not going to be a mandate. Now, the court's conservative majority all but struck down OSHA's requirement. And this conservative majority is going to strike down a whole lot of things. I predict that abortion in this country is going to be struck down by this same Supreme Court. I predict that's coming in the future. In a statement after the Supreme Court ruling, President Biden expressed disappointment with the outcome, but said the mandates have already had their desired effect on reducing the number of unvaccinated adults. So he tried to spin it tried to spin it as best as he could. Today, that number is down to under 35 million, he said, of the unvaccinated. Had my administration not put vaccination requirements in place, we would be now experiencing a higher death toll from COVID-19 and even more hospitalizations. Well, we are experiencing a lot of that still. It's now up to the states and individual employers to put in place vaccination requirements, the White House press secretary Jen Psaki said today. The United States is already languishing with a 60% vaccination rate, near the bottom of peer nations, near the bottom. And this is happening while President Biden is in control. Had we been privileged to have a stronger leader, and I'm definitely not referring to Trump, but had we been privileged to elect a stronger leader, a more capable leader, one that the American people were behind more, would things be different? Definitely. Things would be different. Definitely things would be different. So the Service Employees International Union, which represents more than 2 million workers, said that the court's decision was a relief for healthcare workers, but leaves others without critical protections. And of course, they're referring to the healthcare part that was upheld. Many hospitals are on the edge. Psaki said that the White House would work with businesses to promote the benefits of vaccination or testing requirements, and that Biden would highlight successful programs. We're going to see that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm not, 1 year in, I'm not sold on the Joe Biden administration. Joe Biden at the helm. I'm not sold on it. Now, of course, I wasn't sold on the Trump. I definitely wasn't on the Trump train either. But Biden and Trump are not, neither one of them are what this country needs. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Dominic K Show, at Radio on Fire. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back with more of the show after this. Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Dominic K in here, of course, the Dominic K Show on firetelevision.com. If you miss any episodes of the show, you can get it wherever you get your podcasts, all of the top sites, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, youtube.com/DJ Dominic K, and of course on firetelevision.com, the WRF radio app. Russia is prepping pretext for the Ukraine invasion, according to the White House. U.S. intelligence officials have determined a Russian effort is underway. They are trying to set things up for an invasion. Now, they do have a lot of troops at the border. Does that mean they're getting ready to invade? I don't know. They could invade, or they could just be what they call saber rattling, posturing. That's something that it could be happening as well. The White House press secretary Jen Psaki said today the intelligence findings show Russia is also laying the groundwork through a social media disinformation campaign that frames Ukraine as an aggressor, and it's been prepping an imminent attack against Russian-backed forces in eastern Ukraine. Of course, we know that Russia is not above social media lies, social media disinformation. This is something that we've talked about long and hard. Psaki said that we are concerned that the Russian government is prepping for an invasion in Ukraine that may result in widespread human rights violations and war crimes should diplomacy fail to meet their objectives. The Pentagon spokesman, John Kirby, describes the intelligence as very credible. Now, what does that mean? Who knows? Who knows? Okay. The U.S. intelligence findings were declassified and shared with U.S. allies before being made public. And they estimate that a military invasion could begin between mid-January and mid-February. How do we know this? How do we know this? Who knows? Who knows? Ukraine is also monitoring the potential use of disinformation by Russia. Separately, Ukrainian media today reported that authorities believe Russian special services were planning a possible false flag incident to provoke additional conflict. Man, in this social media age, they just put everything out there. You just say anything that you know, you just say it. Or anything that you think you know, they just say it. So Russia, of course, long been accused of using disinformation as a tactic against adversaries. They're not the first. They're definitely not going to be the last people to use disinformation. Officials are setting the tone for the state media, and they are just running with it. They have these troll farms that post fake comments. But how influential are these fake comments, really? We've seen this playbook in the past. They are prepping this playbook again. So the U.S. intelligence community has taken note of a buildup on social media by Russian influencers, justifying intervention by emphasizing the deteriorating human rights in Ukraine, suggesting an increased militancy of Ukrainian leaders and blaming the West, aka America, for escalating tensions. Why are we so concerned with Ukraine and what Russia is doing? A lot of reasons. I sometimes think that we are more concerned what happens outside of the U.S. borders, more concerned with that than we are what happens inside the country. We're so concerned with the posturing and the appearance, but inside our borders, oh yeah, we're less concerned. We're less concerned. This inconsistency is troubling. And when you look around the world, everybody is not falling for the okie doke. This false picture that we paint that we're so good and we got everything together and other countries don't. There's so much that we need to work on in America. So much. But as of right now, many eyes are on Russia, Ukraine. Is there something getting ready to happen? Are we just going to stumble into a conflict? I don't know. But I feel that something is brewing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. Of course, I am here weekdays, 8 a.m. And I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts in addition to our 8 a.m. program. We drop content throughout the day as news happens. The Diamond K Show is sponsored by Tasty Moscato. If you could pour sexy into a glass, this would be it. This smooth, seductive Moscato wine blended with vanilla takes your palate to a whole nother level of taste me. Unlike most, Tasty Moscato can be deliciously paired with a variety of meats, cheeses, veggies, as well as desserts. It's the sweet taste of luxury that you've been craving. It is Tasty Moscato. You can visit them on social media, Tasty Moscato. So let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back with more of the show after this. Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show on Fire Television.com. And the Ohio Supreme Court has rejected this Republican-drawn congressional map today. And it gives hope to national Democrats who had argued it unfairly delivered several potentially competitive seats this year. This midterm is critical, and just delivered this to Republicans. That's what they were saying. In a 4-3 decision, the Ohio Supreme Court returned the map to the Ohio General Assembly, where Republicans hold supermajorities in both chambers, and then to the powerful Ohio Redistricting Commission. The two bodies have combined 60 days to draw new lines that comply with the 2018 constitutional amendment against gerrymandering. The commission was already in the process of reconstituting so it can redraw the GOP-drawn legislative map. The court also rejected this week as gerrymandering. That decision gave the panel 10 days to comply, with February 2nd and March 4th looming as the filing dates for the candidates. The decisions have raised questions whether the state's May 3rd primary may have to be extended. And we're going to see different things like this happening throughout the country because these midterms are critical. Now, normally the party that is in control of the White House during the times of the midterms, those elections after the president comes in, they normally favor the opposite party. Halfway through a administration, things can be tough, things can be rough, and folks on the other side can be talking about, well, if you put us in office, we're going to change some things up. And that's usually what happens. So right now, Republicans, if history shows us anything, Republicans are in a good place. So they think. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. Earlier this week, when we were talking about the midterms, earlier this week, Tuesday to be exact, Joe Biden, to me, started his push for voting rights. By words, of course. No actions yet. Because that's not what this administration does. They don't do a lot of actions. What they do is a whole lot of talking. And sometimes the things that they're talking about are not the things that the majority of their party want to be said, right? There's a focus on some things, but not a focus on what the majority of the party wants. And this kind of shines more light on the weakness of Joe Biden. So he comes to Atlanta on Tuesday. Him and Kamala Harris and some others, they swung through the city to press for voting rights protections. Now, a very prominent Atlanta resident was missing Tuesday at his speech during that day. There was a lot. There's been a lot of talk about it, right? But the civil rights movement, the absence of one of the nation's most prominent voting rights activists created an awkward moment. Stacey Abrams coming through Atlanta. Joe Biden. There was talk at one time that Stacey Abrams was on a short list for VP candidates before Kamala Harris got it. Now, from what I'm hearing, Joe Biden was not expecting to be snubbed by Stacey Abrams, especially at a time when he is facing mounting vulnerabilities. There's a lot of skepticism from black voters, and understandably so. Black voters saved Joe Biden in South Carolina. Saved him. Joe Biden was up against the ropes. Many were predicting during this is before he even became the nominee, but when it was still a campaign going, many predicted Joe Biden was out of there. Black voters saved him. And what has he done for black voters? Absolutely nothing. So they're skeptical. They're skeptical about him. Kamala Harris, she has not been as helpful as some may have wanted, right? Stacey Abrams once openly lobbied for Joe Biden, right? She openly lobbied for him to pick her as the VP. She was believing the hype at one point in time. Her absence on Tuesday left the impression that she is now distancing from the leader of her party as she campaigns for governor of Georgia. And I think that it's smart for her to do. She has to show that she is not with the weakness, the soft cotton ball ways of Joe Biden, because she wants to win. And you're talking about vulnerabilities, and I think that Governor Kemp is vulnerable right now in Georgia. So the last thing Stacey Abrams wants to do is align herself with a very injured Joe Biden. Now, have they smoothed over any damage? It's being said that late Monday, an unspecified scheduling conflict would prevent Abrams from attending Biden's event. But after Biden spoke, she released a statement saying that she welcomed his commitment to changing the filibuster to allow voting bills to come to a vote. Because prior to Tuesday, Joe Biden had not even hinted that that's something that he was considering. So basically what I took from Stacey Abrams' statement was, if Joe Biden is going to bring this to a vote, she's with it. And that means changing the filibuster. That means changing it. What this clever speak that the Biden administration does is, whatever needs to be done to change the rules, we're going to do it. No, it needs to say filibuster, right? Say we're going to change that and get that out of here. There's so many things that are antiquated within government that need to go. Electoral college needs to go. This foolishness about super majorities needs to go. You either have a majority or you don't. But what's this super crap? Right? That stuff needs to go. Filibuster needs to go. What frustrates people about government is that they have all of these things in place to prevent things from actually getting done. You don't have this on your job, right? You take a vote for something. Oh, well, you need to have a super majority. No, you got the majority rules. That's it. That's it. So at your job, you're forced to get stuff done. But in Washington and in capitals, cities across this country, they can just hide behind antiquated rules and foolishness. Biden said that he and Stacey Abrams have a great relationship. We got our scheduling mixed up. As he left the White House on Tuesday, Biden said that he spoke to Abrams earlier in the day and we're all on the same page. That may be true as long as you do what you are hinting that you may do. Of course, Biden in 2020 became the first Democrat to win Georgia since 1992, in large part due to the help of Stacey Abrams. Since the election, though, Biden's approval nationally has sagged. It has decreased. Abrams' success could hinge on winning a coalition of black voters. And these voters are frustrated with Joe Biden, his inaction and weakness on issues including voting rights and police reform. Even some white voters have soured on Biden more broadly. Now, that gives Abrams little incentive at the moment to appear close to Joe Biden. She's trying to win. And right now, Biden appears to be a loser. Appears to be a loser. Right? So we're going to see. We're going to see if Stacey Abrams was there or not. I don't know if that changes the speech. She has demonstrated where she stands on the legislation. She has. I feel that Joe Biden, after several high-profile losses nationally, needs a win. They always talk about it. Biden needs a win. Biden needs a win. Has Biden won anything aside from the presidency? Or what else has he won? To me, he's doing nothing but lose. And when the president loses, the country loses. Right now, we need a president who is a winner. And I just don't know if we have that. I don't know if we have that. Do you feel like you're being led by the right coach? We feel like it seems like a team. It was almost like the Baltimore Ravens. We have a coach, right? We got all these injuries, we got all this stuff going on, and we have a coach who is not strong. Joe Biden's not strong. Now, did we know this going in? Yes, we knew this. We were so fixated on getting Trump out of there that we thought that Biden was the perfect foil for Trump. But what is even more discouraging, it's not like, and I'll go back to my football analogy, it's not like our quarterback and coach is bad, but we have a good backup, and we're just waiting for that backup to take over. Kamala Harris is not any more encouraging than Biden is. I mean, when you get past the whole lady minority milestone that was reached, then what you have is a politician who's done well in Congress and done well as a prosecutor. But I just don't know if she was ready for prime time. I just don't know. Whenever I see her speak, whenever I see VP Harris speak, it's like a car crash that you hear. You just wait, you hear the brake screech, and you just wait for the crash. Her non-answers, and I don't want to say that politicians do this, right? This is a politician thing. But her deflection, the way that she deflects, is troubling. Troubling. I mean, I could say that. She was asked in a recent interview this week. She spoke to NBC's Craig Melvin, and she deflected the 2024 re-election questions. Yes, Biden's trouble is mounting, but she attempted to deflect scrutiny over her prospects on the 2024 ticket. She dismissed talks of a shakeup as gossip. Trouble is mounting in Washington for Joe Biden. And whether she likes it or not, Kamala Harris is attached at the hip to Joe Biden. Can't get around it. She says, "I'm sorry. We are thinking about today." That was her answer to the question about whether Democrats intended to run Biden-Harris again in 2024. It doesn't sound like somebody that's confident. If you're confident, then the answer is absolutely. Who else will we run? We're going to do this. this inability or refusal to answer simple questions, like answer the simple ones. Are you going to run for president and vice president in 2024? Yes, we are. We're going to continue to push this train forward. Blah 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 blah. Something like show some. They can't show any backbone over nothing. Nothing. Like absolutely nothing. You're not going to show any backbone over nothing. Honestly, I know why you're asking the question, because this is part of the punditry and the gossip around places like Washington, D.C., she said. Okay. I mean, all right. Uh, Asked whether she and Biden had discussed the 2024 race, Harris said she was focused on the work at hand. So you're not going to answer that question. Yes, of course you're just so focused. You're so deep focused on what exactly that we can't even think about 2024. When are you going to think about it? Of course they're talking about it. Of course they're thinking about it, right? But when given these what I call softballs, these are softballs, right? Just this, underhand pitches, which you can knock out the park. No, they don't take those. She says that the American people sent us here to do a job, and right now there's a lot of work to be done. And that's my focus, sincerely. I believe that's her focus. But answer the freaking question, Madam Vice President. And then it's not even like she eloquently maneuvers these questions. She's like clunky and it's awkward. Nearly 1 year into the office, Biden and Harris face steep odds. Steep odds. The Build Back Better proposal stalled. While an effort to reform the filibuster in order to pass the voting rights legislation appeared to collapse yesterday, as two key senators reiterated that they did not back Biden's plan. They don't have the votes. You didn't get enough people elected. You didn't get enough Democrats elected. You don't have the majority for real, because you got two conservative Republicans, at least, who are going to thwart every part of the agenda. They are plants there. So you need more people elected, more Democrats elected. But of course, these Democrats here, Biden and Harris, they're not even thinking about 2024. That's part of the problem there. You're not playing the game. They don't even know the game. And when you ask them, hey, are you game? Oh, we're focused on this. We can't even talk about the game. Your man Don McKay in here, of course, the Don McKay Show on firetelevision.com. And, speculation about whether a VP will remain on the ticket is a constant for most presidencies. This is asked frequently. They were asking this about Mike Pence, right? This is not a crazy question. Talk surfaced last administration about whether Trump would run with Mike Pence and whether George W. Bush would do his second bid without Dick Cheney, who volunteered to step off the 2004 ticket. I mean, there was always talk about the VP changing. In 2011, top aides to Barack Obama weighed whether he would replace the VP Biden with Hillary Clinton in the 2012 race. I wish he had, honestly. But you have to remember, at that point, the president was in an awful bad place. So they were like, what do we have to do? We got to do something. We got to switch it up. But obviously that did not happen. That did not happen. And usually they don't switch. But the question is asked. The question is often asked. And I just think that at times in politics, you need to be coy. At times in politics, you do not need to reveal your hand. And other times when it is super simple and it won't hurt you to do so, just tell the truth, right? Just say what's really going on. What do you have planned? What is going on, right? The American people want to know. And if you can answer some of these basic questions, that just makes things go better. Makes things go better. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at On Fire Television. Here on the show, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across this country. Show is fun, show is upbeat, but I also want to expose what's happening in this country. I give you politics from an independent perspective. If a Republican is wrong, I'm going to call it out. If a Democrat is wrong, I'm going to call that out too. Join me weekdays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. for the Diamond K Show on firetelevision.com. The Diamond K Show is an On Fire Television production. You get the show on demand, WRF Radio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, YouTube.com/DJ Diamond K. Of course, here at the Diamond K Show, we are very excited about the WRF Radio app. Take a moment to download WRF Radio in your app store. You can scroll your timeline, attend a Zoom meeting on mute, do some online shopping, all while listening to the Diamond K Show. Of course, we are an advertiser-supported audio and video network. Get breaking news, podcasts, TV shows, covering topics that are important to our culture. You want to support the show? Very easy to do that. Head on over to onfiretelevision.com, grab a t-shirt, some other merch. You can become a sponsor for as low as $50. Diamond K Show brought to you in part by jstoverbeauty.com. I want to talk directly to my ladies out there. If you are looking for those must-have beauty products, look no further. jstoverbeauty.com has quality wigs, Indian hair extensions, virgin hair extensions, professional hair care products, edge control, flat iron mist, mink eyelashes, satin wig bags, wax sticks, lace concealer, lace tint, and so much more. jstoverbeauty.com does custom wig making, maintenance, and revamp services. You can check them out on social media, jstoverbeauty on Instagram, jstoverbeauty LLC on Facebook. So it may seem like I'm going to be hard on Joe Biden, and here's the thing. The country needs to turn the corner. In order to turn the corner, we need strong leadership. We deserve strong leadership. We deserve capable leadership. Is that what we have right now? Is that what America has right now? Do we have strong leadership? I'm going to say that the clues point to no, we don't. We have a very middle of the road leadership, very middle of the road. And what we need right now is strength. We're dealing with inflation. We are dealing with gaping divisions politically in this country. We're dealing with a pandemic. We're dealing with a lot. So strong leadership is the, I would say that is the baseline for what this country needs. And is Joe Biden providing that? No, he's not. He's not. What can he get done? We're going to see. Now, understandably so, it has been difficult. Republicans have fought him every this race and in office. Some Republicans don't even accept him as the president in their minds. He's definitely the president. But there's a lot. COVID-19 running across this country. Students walked out over COVID-19 in-person learning conditions in Chicago, in Boston, in New York, and other cities. Walking out of their classrooms. Public school students in Boston left their classrooms at 10:30 today, demanding that local leaders take more initiative in reducing the spread of COVID-19 in schools and implement a 2-week period for remote learning. Oh, no, don't send the kids home. The best place is in school, right? Um, yeah. So we will then stand there for exactly 10 minutes, 1 minute for every 100,000 new COVID-19 case found on the 2nd of January. They're saying, according to a student-run Massachusetts COVID walkout Instagram page. So following the walkout, students held a webinar to discuss their fears about the handling of the pandemic in schools. Students at the virtual event recounted their urge to take action and keep their fellow students, teachers, and staff safe. What's happened in this country is they've buckled to pressure from people that are more concerned about the economy in this country than safety. And there's so much that we don't know about COVID-19. But they want things, you have one side of the country that wants things open back up. They don't give a damn. They don't care. Open things up, open. It's my freedom, right? And then you have another part of the country that is super timid and very skeptical about everything. And then you got some people that are in the middle. Well, the scared of everything people have completely buckled to the pressure from the folks that want their freedom and want everything open. Now, the result of that has been inconsistency and community spread that is much higher than we would like. So students are asking for transparency and accuracy in the school's COVID-19 data, youth participation in decision-making, and accountability for mistakes. That right there is so important. Accountability for mistakes. Things would go so much further if your elected leaders said, we said this, the science has evolved, our knowledge has evolved, and we now understand that we should be doing this instead. What we said before wasn't right. This is what's right, right? But there's no accountability. It doesn't matter what it is. They refuse to take accountability for anything. And because of that, and the facts that we are completely divided in this country, you have confusion, the inconsistency. As you constantly have to prove yourself and your leadership, it's the incompetence is harmful, and it's impacting people across the country. It's exhausting, and it is frustrating. It's frustrating. Protests in New York, California, and other states have highlighted the growing concerns that school leaders are failing to address COVID-19 and its impact on education and health in schools. You're going to have all these politicians or appointed folks come on TV and say, oh yeah, we know this, and we can keep kids safe. No, you can't. No, you can't, and you're not. And there's no accountability. And these are supposed to be the smart people, right? These are supposed to be the teachers and the professors and the doctors. And what are they doing? They are presenting a bad example for the kids. There's no accountability. There's no ownership. You wouldn't accept this from students lying about their homework, but they get on TV and they do the very thing that they would not accept from their students. On Fire Television is an interactive streaming channel dedicated to people of color, whether it is news, movies, documentaries, music, or podcasts. OnFireTelevision.com celebrates the culture. Shemaine Diamond K, The Diamond K Show. I will be back later on today, and I always enjoy talking to people on social media. We have a lot of announcements coming up on social media. I'm at The Diamond K Show. Of course, I will be back 8 p.m. tonight for more.